Oh, yeah.
It's like pianos. The only thing, Frank hasn't brought us is dancing girls yesterday from the 1860s. But this is Frank Naumann, and this is
Naumann, not Naumann.
I can't get rid of and Sue, his wife Sue. And Frank, we always look forward to having our friend here. In fact, when Frank comes roaming in, when Sue finally boots him out of the house, he comes over here and we're all, you can hear the laughter coming out of the place because Johnny's usually telling his stories. And Frank's telling me to keep quiet that I don't know what I'm talking about. So we just have a regular good old time. So I'd like to introduce Frank now.
Okay, all right. Take it away, Frank. Yeah. Well, I'm here today to talk about the Naumann family and their immigration from Germany and their travels to cross the ocean and landing in New York and then traveling to South Texas and living in South Texas for a few years until my great-grandfather Samuel Naumann got his citizenship documents, and then he moved to Chino, California, because there was a sugar factory there, and they were there for a few years, and then they moved up here to the Ocean View area of what was then the Hueneme Plains, and because the Oxnard brothers were going to start a sugar factory up here, and they moved up because of that, and have been here ever since. So are you going to put the title? Well, you don't need to put the title.
I had it up there.
Oh, you did? Oh. Okay, so this is my great-grandfather as a young man in Germany. He was born in 1835, and to me he looks about 30-something there in that picture. And he married in 1851 at the age of 16, and 3 children were born to this marriage, and Samuel's wife died in 1873. In 1874, Samuel married my great-grandmother, Rosina Wilkie, age 26. The marriage was at the St. Stephanie Reformed Church in Oschersleben, Germany. Now, can you go to the church slides? 7, 8, 9? No. Yeah. No, that's the gate. 7, yeah. Okay, this is Sue and I were in Oschersleben just last year, and this is the church that was where my great-grandfather was married in 1874, and the church was built in the 1500s, and the town started dates back to the 750s. So the town in 2018 will be 1,265 years old. So this is the front door of the church. It's the church is called the Reformed Church. It's not the Lutheran Church. It's just called the Reformed Church. This is the front door, and Sue and I kick ourselves because I don't think we even attempted to open the door. We just figured, oh, don't touch that. It looks like they don't want you to come in. I don't know, but so we never even tried to get in. But I have a cousin that was there about 10 years before me, and he said he walked right in. Let's go. Yeah, this is the side view. Just massive rock church. I don't know if it was damaged any during the war. I saw some pictures that there was quite a bit of damage in the town, and but I don't know if this church was damaged at all. The reason the town was damaged was that they had a aircraft assembly plant there that had 6,000 workers, and 5,000 of them were Germans, and 1,000 of them were slaves. And there was a concentration camp there that had 1,000 workers, and I didn't know about that till we kind of dug in on the internet. And there's nothing. Am I still mic'd up?
Yeah.
Okay. There was nothing there that of course, they put that all under the table. You know, they don't want to make a tourist trap out of concentration camp.
Sue's making a song. There you are. Try
Oh,
to.
make it soft. Soft.
Make the music.
Now, okay,
How's that work?
okay.
It was fine before.
Okay, the town of Oschersleben is located about 100 miles southwest of Berlin. Like I said, the town traces its history back to the year 753, and it was a walled city. Oschersleben will be 1,265 years old in 2018. Little is known of the Naumann family life in Germany, except that Samuel was a stonemason and that he owned a home in Oschersleben. During the first 10 years of Samuel and Rosina's marriage, 6 children were born. My grandfather, Gustav, was born in 1884. Samuel and Rosina decided to leave Germany and immigrated to America in 1886. Samuel was 51 years old and Rosina was 38. Rosina's son from her first marriage was 16 years old. Samuel and Rosina's 6 children ranged in age from 11 years to 2 years. The 2-year-old was my grandfather.
He looks like you, Frank.
Oh, yeah. Which one? Okay, I forgot my pointer, but Gus Naumann is the guy in the back, the little guy in the back. This picture was taken in Texas in 1890, so it was 4 years after they immigrated. So my grandfather was 6 years old. Next to him is
Where up one? On
the
this
back
side?
row on the left. Yeah, that guy right there. Yeah, Gus.
That's Gus?
Yep. Okay. See, I got that on the page. Okay, in this picture, Samuel is 55 years old. Rosina is 42. Her son is the tall guy in the back. He's 20 years old. Herman is, I need a pointer. Okay, front row right. That's Herman. He's 15.
Herman the German.
Herman the German. 15 years old. Next, in the back row, the girl, 14. That's Louise. Emma, the girl in the front row, is 12. And you notice the dresses, they're the same material, so they must have made those dresses.
I was like the 16 or
I knew Emma. She was my Sunday school teacher when I was about 5, 6 years old. I'm not done yet, Larry. Otto and Paul in the background, in the back, yeah, that's Paul, and the other kid on the right, that's Otto. Believe it or not, they're twins, and they're 11 years old. Oh, and then the baby, Martha, she was 2 years old, we figured, because she was born in 1888 in Texas. Just kids, man. 3 in Germany, 7 in this group. Okay. You kind of got me out of it. Okay, we know of no stated reason that Samuel and Rosina decided to immigrate. I believe it was because of opportunities for the large family to advance in the United States. The Germany of Samuel's time was an ancient land, densely populated and in a state of tumult because of wars and boundary disputes with neighboring countries. The opportunity for entrepreneurship and financial advancement for members of the working class was low. On the other hand, the America of 1886 was a relatively young and emerging country. It had only been 110 years since the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. America contained vast lands that needed an industrious population to develop the frontiers within its borders. Samuel chose the frontier of South Texas. Since the 1840s, many German people had populated this area. By the 1890s, the number of Texas residents having German ancestry was 125,000. In fact, there were more Texans of German ancestry than Texans of Mexican ancestry. The family came to America aboard the North German Lloyd Steamship Company's steamship Ems. There is a river in Germany named Ems, spelled E-M-S. So can you show the slide of the poster now? Number 13. That's a poster, but it's Hansel and Gretel.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Ah, you just got it.
Back one. There you go. Okay, this was a reproduction of the North German Lloyd Steamship Company poster, and that ship is very similar to the one that the family came to across the ocean on, and the Ems was about 500 feet long, had 2 smokestacks and 4 masts for sails in case they were needed. The ship was built of iron and could carry 1,200 passengers. The steam engines were capable of producing 8,000 horsepower. The ship required a crew of 170. The Ems was launched in 1884. The North German Lloyd ships were the fastest passenger liners of the day and established a weekly schedule between Bremen, Germany, with a quick stop in Southampton, England, to board passengers, and docking in New York after travel of 8 to 9 days on open seas. Go to the next slide. There. Okay, now that's the photograph of the steamship Ems near the end of its life. And the ship didn't last very long because it was damaged somehow, and it was scrapped in 1905. But the fact that it had sails on it is kind of just, there was a transition period, I guess, between engines and they didn't want to really give up on the idea that they could have backup just in case for some reason it happened. I have a diary that was written by another German immigrant that traveled on the same ship as the family traveled on, just a short time before they did, a few months in fact. So his diary would be a good barometer of what they experienced, I would think. And he mentioned in his diary that the seas were so rough one time that a guy fell out of the crow's nest there on that front mast. But he survived, but he got thrown out. And he mentions that he was very sick during the trip, and it was really rough. There was 2 classes of passengers. I have some brochure from the company, and it has the prices of travel. And there was first class, and then there was second class. And in second class, you had 2 levels, A and B. And I estimate that the family, if they were first class, it would have cost about $900 to move the whole family. And if they were second class, it would cost about $300. So I assume they went second class. Okay, now go to a slide with the Castle Garden, the Immigration Depot, 16, should be 2 more, or 1, no. Well, go back to that, please. Yeah, okay, now this is, Sue and I, like I say, we went to Oschersleben and visited, and I wanted to cross the ocean so I could say I did, at least, like the family did 131 years before. But so we lucked out and got on the Queen Mary II, and that's how we came home. Took about a week. Huh?
No sales?
No sales, yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. Okay, the next one, please. Yeah. Okay, now this is the Castle Garden, the Immigration Depot. It's the building there on the left. And Castle Garden was the Immigration Depot located at the tip of Manhattan Island, beginning in 1855 and continuing for 35 years. 8 million people entered the United States through Castle Garden. After 1890, immigrants passed through the new facility at Ellis Island. So you see how the walls are circular, and that the walls, it was built as a fort for the War of 1812, and it never fired a shot. And then after they didn't need it for defense, they put a roof on it, and it was it was sort of the Madison Square Garden. Before Madison Square Garden, there was a lot of entertainers that performed there, and then they turned it into the Immigration Depot, and like I say, that lasted for 35 years. And then after that, they turned it into the New York City Aquarium, and it was that for I think up until the 40s or so. And then they just tore the roof off of it. What was that?
Wow.
Bird.
That's a good one.
Can't run his way out.
Alfred Hitchcock's. First there was
That's okay,
Blackbird, then there was Vinci.
Just ignore it.
That's why I'm going to the band.
I don't think it will.
Larry, did you bring your BB gun? No. Okay, so
Excuse me, Frank, where did you say that's located?
where's it? Right at the tip of Manhattan.
Oh, I
Yeah. The Statue of Liberty is off to the left, and they call it Battery Park now because that was the battery. That was what it was. It had guns in there, battery, and so the only thing that's left now is just the walls, and we were there, walked around, and took pictures.
Just ignore the bird, concentrate on the speech.
When the family arrived in New York on August of 1886, the Statue of Liberty was nearing completion and was dedicated in October of that year. The skyline of New York reached the heights of 11 and 12 stories. The Brooklyn Bridge was 3 years old. The legendary span, completed in 1883 after 14 years of construction, was the work of an 1831 German immigrant named John Roebling and his Civil War engineer son, Washington Roebling. During that summer of 1886, Buffalo Bill Cody's Wild West show had an extended run at the Iristina Resort on Staten Island, New York. Something else interesting about Buffalo Bill, he had property in Colorado, or maybe Wyoming, I forget. And he actually was a sugar beet grower for the Oxnard brothers. They had a factory in Colorado, and he actually grew 100 acres of sugar beets for the Oxnard brothers back in the 1890s, I think. Okay, I believe the family traveled to South Texas from New York by train because the diary of the German immigrant, his diary, that's how he did it. So I figured that's probably how our family did it also. They likely departed the train at Goliad, Texas, because they purchased 104 acres near the small town of Germantown, located 18 miles northeast of Goliad. Okay, Goliad is about, I'd say it's probably 30, 40 miles north of Gulf. And South Texas, another large town is Victoria, Texas. And the town of Germantown, during the First World War, for obvious reasons, Germantown was renamed Schrader after a local soldier. Can we go back to the slide 3 of the 1890 picture of the family? There. Okay. We know little of how Samuel supported his family in Texas. We believe he farmed 104 acres. When I visited the property in 2001, the property was very brushy and woody. The present owner uses the property as cattle pasture, a solo farming in the area. It is possible that 110 years ago, the parcel was cleared, and since then the brush has taken over. Germantown had a post office and a small schoolhouse. A dance hall was opened in 1890 and still jumps on Saturday nights. And they've had some big name entertainers that kind of cut their teeth there and played. In 1894, a Lutheran church was established. Samuel received his citizenship document in 1893 from the District Court of Victoria County, Texas. Soon after receiving his American citizenship, Samuel moved his family via the Southern Pacific Railroad to Chino, California. There was a sugar beet factory in Chino which opened in 1890. The sugar factory was owned by the Oxnard brothers. They were major entrepreneurs in the sugar industry. They owned sugar factories in Nebraska and Colorado. Richard Gerd, the founder of Chino, made his fortune in Tombstone, Arizona. He and two brothers discovered gold and silver in the 1870s and subsequently operated a large mine. In 1881, he sold his mining interests and purchased 47,000 acres of Spanish grant lands in the Rancho Santa Ana del Chino. Gerd conducted trials for a period of 4 years and proved that sugar beets would thrive in the area. In 1887, he subdivided 23,000 acres into 10-acre parcels and advertised in newspapers around the country that land and opportunity was available in Chino, California. He induced the Oxnard brothers to build a sugar factory, which opened in 1890. I believe Samuel became aware of the opportunities in Chino and moved his family after receiving American citizenship in 1893. Samuel rented land with the help of the 5 boys, grew sugar beets for the Chino factory. About this time, Albert Malhart of the Hueneme area and other enterprising farmers and businessmen of the farming districts near the town of Hueneme were discussing with the Oxnard brothers the possibilities of a new factory in Ventura County. This new factory would process beets grown on farms located in the Ocean View, Del Norte, Springville, Cayugas, Somas, and Colonia areas. I'm not certain when the family moved to the Ocean View area of the Hueneme/Oxnard Plain, but with Larry Downing's help, I located Samuel's name in a ledger book of this building, the Hueneme Bank, dated May 1898. You got that book here? Look, you don't know how to do it now, but yeah, you do. Samuel rented land in the area before purchasing 159 acres on Edding Road east of present-day Highway 1 in 1901. In 1904, Samuel purchased 80 acres that was adjacent on the east side of the previous purchase. The dirt road separated the 2 parcels. The dirt road became the present-day Naumann Road. Sadly, in 1905, Samuel Naumann committed suicide because of some issue in his life that caused depression. The Oxnard Courier newspaper article stated that he was in a state of melancholy for quite some time. Samuel wrote to daughter Louise in 1903. He pleaded with her to correspond with the children of his first marriage still living in Germany. He stated to her that no one else in the family will do it. His letter closes with the statement that everyone here is fine except me. So I believe he was despondent about his 3 children in Germany. As a member of the 4th generation of Samuel's descendants, I am thankful for his guidance to the family at age 51 from Germany to Texas, from Texas to Chino, and ultimately to the Ocean View area of the Oxnard Plain with its fertile soil and the best climate in America. Are you ready for this one, Vernon?
Yeah.
And that's why they call it
Indian Wells.
Naumann Road. Indian Wells. That's why they call it El Rio. Okay, so I have about 15 pictures that I want to show and talk about. So we're going to go to the Oxnard Sugar Factory. There, that one there, yeah. So that's the picture of the sugar factory. It's long gone. It was torn down in about 59. When I was in the 8th grade, I went on a nighttime tour with members of the the men's club from the Lutheran church, and it was a stinky, smelly place. It was pretty neat. Let's go to 18, the next one.
Frank,
Yeah.
where was it located?
Okay, it was located on the north side of Woolley Road and east of Oxnard Boulevard, and about where the railroad tracks are now was kind of the boundary on the east side, and up to Fifth Street there's still one or two buildings left there that were original sugar factory buildings. They built the factory first, and the town just sprung up around it, and they hauled in a lot of buildings were just moved there, and the town started officially in 1903. The factory opened in 1899.
How many people work there?
Yeah, I don't know, quite a few, a lot, yeah.
I imagine it's a big place, huge.
Yeah, this is from the north side looking towards the south. They brought sugar beets in from all other areas besides just Oxnard. At one time, there was thousands of acres in the San Fernando Valley that were grown, and they hauled them in by rail car. And I can remember even up until they closed, there would be long train loads of sugar beets come from different areas and processed at Oxnard. Okay, this is Herman Naumann, Herman the German, as some refer to him. And he's standing on top of the wagon there, and the workers have loaded the wagon. And notice the workers are Oriental men, and I'm sure that they were provided by the Asahi Labor Contracting Company, which was owned by the Takasugi family, and now Takasugi was our former mayor and representative. Real nice guy, knew him quite well. Okay, this is what they call the Naumann Beet Dump, because it was located near the Naumann property on Edding Road. And after farmers like Herman the German loaded their beets into a wagon, they brought the wagon to a beet dump, and they came up, you see, up an incline, and then they had some mechanism of dumping the wagon loaded beets into the rail car, and hopefully the horses didn't spook and get. My dad said that there was a lot of bad accidents that happened because of that. Okay, this is rail cars at the factory after they've been to the beet dump and they've been brought into town. The Naumann beet dump was about 4 miles from the factory. There was a number of beet dumps around the area, north, south, east, and west.
Frank? But it doesn't look like beets, does it? It looks like corn or something.
It looks like beets to me.
Oh,
They were big.
Yeah, they're ugly. They're ugly things.
Looks like a marijuana.
Well, you guys in Port
Colorado beets.
down here in Pop Hueneme, that's what you
Why did they stop making them? Sure, what they used them for?
do. Okay, because other crops came to the area and kind of competed with sugar beets, like vegetables and citrus. And they, the sugar factory actually became obsolete. It was run by a steam engine, and more modern factories were built in other areas. So they just kind of, the sugar factory kind of ran its life. It lasted for close to 60 years, and so they just tore it down.
There was a lot of competition too, from Cuba and Hawaii. And
Yeah.
The price of sugar.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Had to be supported.
Okay. Okay, the next slide. Naumann Brothers, 1909. This is their bean thrasher and workers. And Herman, the German, is standing on top of to the right there. He's the one with his hands on his hips. He's in charge.
Yeah.
He was the oldest of the boys, so he was the boss. And then off to the left there, the guy standing on the engine, off to the left, right there. That's Paul Naumann. That was his specialty, was engines. And, he ran a machine shop in Oxnard later on. But that was a 10 horsepower single cylinder engine, and it had a long flat belt, and it was connected to the bean thrasher. And it's hard to believe that 10 horsepower could run that thing, but that's what they did. And then all these guys, they slept right there. You see that one guy leaning down there, Hueneme. No, off to the left. See those? Yeah, those two guys there.
Frank, right there.
Yeah, and there's some bean.
I thought that was Frank.
Well, careful, we'll find you in there someplace. Okay, so the guys slept out there in the field at nighttime, and they're sitting on sacks of lima beans that have been thrashed, and the guy in that see the little wagon off to the left?
Yeah.
That's the cookhouse. Pointer man, please.
There's Larry, right there.
There you go. So he cooked the soup and or whatever, fed the crew, and then my grandfather, his job was, he was called the roustabout, and his job was to go into town and hire the guys and get them out to come to work, and he did running around and picked up parts or whatever, because he had a car, and that's why he got that job, they say. And then the other brother, Otto, he was a teacher, so he took care of the horses. The beans were grown in the field, and then they were cut and dried, and for a few weeks actually, and then they were thrashed when they're dry, and by this month time, it's usually September in the fall, is when they thrash the beans. And so they had to have workers load the beans into the wagon. The wagon came to the thrasher, and they thrashed the beans, and then this was called a stationary bean thrasher because it didn't move. But then later on, they had pickup bean thrashers that went through the field, picked up the beans and thrashed them.
Is that like what you have the farm park?
No, the ones we have at the farm park are stationary. Okay, the next one. Yeah, okay, now this is the thrasher in operation. You can see the dust. And you can see the wagons in the background are full of beans. And you see the beans sacks and that are full of lima beans. And then the guys there underneath that canvas, that's where so the beans would come out the thrasher, and they had to be sewn shut. And so that's what they were doing. And then the straw, see on the right side, no, up above, up to the right, there, that's the straw. I don't know how that works. Anyways, they thrash the beans, they separate them from the pods. The beans go one direction, the straw comes out the back, and it ends up in the wagon, and then they take it out of the field and spread it out. Or they even used to bale that stuff and feed it to the cattle. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is my grandfather Gus Naumann at the wheel. This is a 1908 reel, and the location is East 5th Street near the railroad depot.
Oh, look at that cute car.
Next,
The real deal.
What kind of car is it?
off to the left, yeah,
1908 Rio.
yeah. Okay, this is Rosina's 1908 tourist automobile. Samuel died in 1905, so she was in charge now. And Rosina, yeah, she kept all the money. The boys worked for her, and that was her car.
What kind
They
of?
figured it out, and bought it, but she paid for it. It's a 1908 tourist, and it was assembled in Pasadena, believe it or not. And, it was, I have some literature on it. It was a car that was, did quite, well, they used to have these road races, and it was like a 3 or 4 mile track, and it was just how well the car performed, and people from miles around would go down to these road races. All different cars would be there, and so they picked this one as being the one that they thought they liked, and bought it 1908. Next slide. You must have skipped one.
That's right here.
Yeah. Okay, that's my grandfather Gus and my grandmother Catherine in about 1910 at the automobile is called a Glide. It was a 2-seater. Had very large wheels. And the location is 3rd and B Street, where the city hall is now. And you notice the palm trees in the background? They're still there, but they're about 100 feet tall.
Why are the wheels so large?
I don't
The
know.
roads are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Not really, yeah.
We got ruts.
You had to fall through the left of another car.
Yeah. Now here's Herman the German in his yellow Buick. And this is at the foot of the old Caneo grade. That rock is still there. If you go out to Oak Grove Park, it's at the east end of the park. And you notice the bell, the El Camino Real bell in the rock.
Frank, is
Oh,
this
yeah,
the
on
name?
top.
Yeah, that's the roadway right there. Dirt road. That's how you got to Los Angeles. Nobody going. Nobody there. Stop in the middle of the road, take a picture. Okay, this is Rosina's son, Richard Moker, and he's sitting in the passenger side of his Chevrolet car. You see the bow tie insignia on the radiator.
Yeah.
Could you point that out for the rest of the audience? There you go. There you go. Very good.
That's all right, Frank, you trained me.
Hiring.
Okay, the location is the Wawona Big Tree in the south end of Yosemite National Park. And I think that tree has fallen over a few years ago.
Shame. Interesting.
So that's the Naumann Road, and the next slide is to be continued. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it.